if you want to know who you are, know first who you are not. Since we are born, we just repeat the pattern of our parents. We know that we're connected with 3 previous generations. Our brain is connected with the know-how of our ancestors. And the brain just wants to repeat what he knows, and he just knows what he can repeat. And the know-how comes from 3 generations before us. And you consider also everything that happened between dad and mom during the pregnancy with us. What happened between them? We record all that and we repeat that all our life as automatism, thinking that it's us. So we repeat automatism. So the first degree of freedom, it is to study our lifetime line from now backward to the moment we were born. The project purpose, everything that happened between dad and mom, or to them during the time of the pregnancy, and 3 generations. When we study that, we understand that we repeat what they were. So to change what we are right now is to study who we are not. So these ancestors. And as we do this work, slowly we can pretend to start to change something. But if we don't study a minute these memories, where can we start to change ourselves? Okay? This is why when you try to start something new without paying attention to where it's coming from into the past, it's like if this is why most systems have failed, because it is not based on something solid. It's based just on the concept of trying something new. We repeat patterns that originate from our subconscious connected to these ancestors. And if you don't go to the source, to the root cause, you cannot change what is going on right now in your life. And you know, when you study psychoanalysis, Carl Jung in the past, he was very right, because he observed for 60 years that what does not come back to your conscious awareness for what happened in the past has a tendency to come back as a destiny in the future. Today, when you live this life and when you have a sexual attraction for a woman or for a man, okay, it's a force that universe gives you to help that person. So with that force, you decide to use it for yourself or to help the person. It's your decision. That's the difference between a biological man and a spiritual man. Spiritual man normally should be a man that has integrated the biology in his behavior, but he's not controlled totally by his biology. Okay, so in recall healing, I have built a workshop called Relationships. And it's not to promote new types of relationships, but it's to understand why relationships do not work. And so, for example, people marry a type of man, a type of a woman. Many of us, we don't even know why we pick that husband or that wife. But you will hear a lot when you work with clients that, let's say I have a client, a woman, and she will tell me, 2 years after marrying my husband, I realized that I married my father. And you talk with a man, and then he will say, 2 days after I got married with my wife, I married my mother. And you hear that, why? So we will study where does that come from. We call that the family triads. Because as a child, I observe what's going on between dad and mom, and my brain will record all this ambience and will try to reproduce it later. But because our brain is comfortable to repeat, to reproduce. And if we're not conscious of that, we cannot change that. Right? So we study that, and we will study also all the pathologies of, for example, behind a period for women. Right? Where does that come from in a couple? Right? And many pathologies, for example, if you're a child and dad and mom, they don't communicate with each other. Dad and mom do not communicate with you. You're a child, you're alone. How can the child survive that? And we notice that normally the child won't have the chance to talk a lot when he's young. So he will develop more the contact with animals, And he will start to talk sometimes with his guys, with angels, because he's not communicating with his father and mother. Yeah, but if he does not communicate, he will learn that talking to another person is useless. So sometimes he can develop some pathology of the mouth, like labial herpes, and even some, what you call that, receding gum. And when I talk, receding gum is I talk and I have the feeling that nobody is listening when I talk. So yes, but it's come from when I was a child. I couldn't communicate with my father, couldn't communicate with my mother. Okay? So we will see how pathologies are developed in the future based on what happened when we were a child in our family. And we will see also why we marry such a sexual partner later in life based on what happened to us when we were young, between 4 and 7 years old. And the brain observes constantly. And we will study also two different types of couple. The couple, and you have couple as you have to be totally like me. And you have the couple that you have to be my complement. We will study these types of couple and why they function well and why they break up. And we will see also what is the meaning of the love when love is based on romanticism, too much romanticism, and when love is based on an exaggeration of the sexual behavior like pornography. Okay? We will see that. We will make a comparison and we'll try to find a way how can it be nice to melt both in a harmonious way. And then we will see what is being an alpha male, alpha female. We'll see many scenarios where a woman cannot be pregnant. What happens between her and her husband or with the man that she wants to have a child from. We will see why a couple cannot be pregnant. We're going to study different variation and possibility. And we will see also some meaning of hormones, female hormones, at different moments of the cycle. We will see some pathologies related to the periods, to the cycles. We will see some pathologies like all the genital pathologies for men and women, like herpes, like sexual transmissible diseases. We will see also, I have something very interesting to teach about impotence, lack of erection in men, lack of orgasm in women, and what can be done to improve the situation. And then we're going to play also with 10 funny suggestions to make a marriage work. And also, I have also the Gottman Institute recommendation, which is a questionnaire of 52 questions that we should ask ourselves or our partner before we get married. And then we will see also the colors. Some people have different colors. Some men are blue, some women are orange, some men are green, some women are red, and a variation of colors. And you see some colors are not nice match together, but they should not mix because the mix is awful. And we will use that to understand why some couples are very good girlfriend and boyfriend, but they should not marry, they should not have intercourse, because from the moment they have intercourse, the war starts between them. So we use the colors to understand that. And maybe many other little pathologies that we will see along this workshop. Now for me, for example, the elder years should be the most beautiful years of our life, okay? Normally, because we have worked all our life to develop some knowledge, some wisdom. And normally, if we remain open to the world, and we keep being in process, we become a source for the younger people, and we exchange ideas and knowledge. But for me, one of the biggest problems is that we stop our progression, our opening, and then when we don't connect anymore with something new, there's a moment we start to age, and when we start to age, there's a real age is when we stop to progress, to be in contact with the world. And from that moment, people become insecure, and now they don't have the connection with others because of the progression. They're limited. So what do? They close and they try to control the few things that they still have, in order not to lose. And as they close up, they become intoxicated and they get old much quicker, and they become, they shrink. Okay? But normally, we need to find the future. I think we will find some different system to remain open toward the universe, toward the community. And that is, I would say, when you look at elders that have succeeded, elders that are still young, they keep traveling, they keep reading, they keep studying, and they have a purpose in life. And they are connected to the world. And this is why they age well in their life.